Hey, welcome back to my channel. How's everybody doing? Please like, comment, and subscribe. Today I want to talk about the grass is always greener on the other side, as the saying goes. My belief is you have to water your own grass in order for it to grow healthy and strong. It's easy to think that other people are just having the time of their life, that they are having no struggles, they're just living their best life. When you're either listening or observing, whether it's your co-workers, your family, friends. But honestly, nobody's telling you the deep-rooted issues in their life. Most people talk on a very surface level communication. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really get into their life. You may know a tiny bit, but, that marriage that you think is just so wonderful, you have no idea what goes on behind closed doors. And I'm not saying, everything's bad or whatever, but marriage in itself, it comes with give and take. So what they may be willing to deal with, even though it isn't all that bad, you may not be able to deal with it. So it wouldn't be so good in your world. Or say that job that somebody's got. That it looks like they're, say, traveling with it, making all this money. But you have to look on the downside of that. If it was you, would you want to travel all the time? Miss family events, or if you have kids, missing stuff with them, or wanting to have kids, you can't because you travel so much. Or you're going to the same places all the time, so you've already been there, done that a few times, or the stress of connecting with clients and stuff. You look at the good part of you, like, oh my God, I wish I could do that and stuff. But would you really, if you had to do it? We have to stop comparing ourselves and our lives with other people. Especially where social media is so big and so many people thrive on it. It's so important to them. They have to follow these people, and I'm talking big name people, and take all their advice and stuff like that. It's okay to follow people. It's already to subscribe and stuff, I do. But, I don't get so deep into their life that I need it, I want it, I have to have it, Their life is so much better than mine. I think that is where depression sits in with a lot of people, or they become unsatisfied with their life, or marriage or whatever. We have to stop. If we have a good thing, whether it's a marriage, family, friends, work, make go of it. Water that area. stay positive in what area that is. Focus on the good stuff about that area. You know, because if you continue to focus on the bad stuff, that's where that envy is going to come in, you know, wanting something somebody else has got. You know, everybody is built different. Everybody wants something, you know. And if you really do want to, we'll say, travel or something, do it. I mean, I think a lot of people, we don't take accountability for our life. And all our choices are made by us, literally. Nobody can force you into anything. It is all your choice. So that education you got, that job you got, how many kids you got, you know, the friends that you got, the places you live, all those are your choices. I mean, yes, I know it's, you know, some of it is financial reasons and stuff, but, you know, if you really wanted to go travel to a certain place, you'd find that money. Even if you had to do a temp job for 1 or 2 months to pay for that whole trip, you would do that. I mean, you gotta stop making excuses and, you know, take charge. And I think that will hinder you from wanting, you know, somebody else's, I don't want to say somebody else's life, but, you know, part of that life, whatever it is you're focused on. Water your own backyard, front yard, side yards. That aura that's around you, water that. And you, I'm telling you, will find a huge difference, you know, on the way you see things. And once you start seeing more stuff on a positive level, more positive things will happen. I'm telling you. You know, it's part of being grateful for what you have. The more you're grateful, the more you attract, the more you have. You know, so it's real important to understand that looking through the lens into somebody else's lives is not always correct. It is not. And I think that will bring people a lot happier in their lives. You know, I don't want really people to be content. You know, being happy and all that is a little more than being content. But if that's where it starts, being content, it's better than being depressed and miserable, right? Don't fall into that. You know, I have my days where I'm just exhausted, but I know, again, where I'm spiritual, I know where that exhaustion comes from, or that a little bit like feeling down that day and stuff. I know where all that comes from, but I know I'm not depressed or nothing, because I do have, I think, a good life, even with all my struggles. Even with all my struggles, I am in control of what happens. Like, my emotions are what's gonna make things happen or not happen. Okay? So please, do not look at somebody else's yard and think their grass is greener, because it's not. And if it is, that means they're watering it. They're putting focus and attention, time, love into that to keep it strong and healthy. So pay attention to your thoughts. That's all I gotta say is just pay attention to your thoughts. And as you see, I am enjoying this beautiful day outside. Laying down on the grass, I'm going to do some stretching. Enjoy your day, everyone, and I will talk soon. Bye.